Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of The Gentleman Reviewer, where today I'll be talking about the Nemosine Singularity. I always say Fission. That's the one that I usually use when I'm using these pens, and I'm going to be comparing it to the Fission. So given they're all math terms and I'm not very familiar with math, I just tend to mix them all up in my head sometimes. So the Singularity is Nemosine's entry-level pen. It's a resin-bodied pen, so it's a plasticky feeling type of body. It only runs about, I'm forgetting the price off the top of my head because these change all the time, maybe $9 to $20 depending on where you buy them. I know that Nemosine's website right now has a bunch on clearance and closeout for as low as $9. And I think Goulet Pens sells the demonstrators, I think about 20 to 30, somewhere in there. I don't have the exact price off the top of my head. But this one, I do have the Fission here, got the names right, just as a quick comparison so you can see how close they are or how similar they are, which isn't terribly similar. Hope that's focusing for you. My camera tends to suck when I put things up closely as far as focusing goes. But you'll get a better view of it when I do the writing sample for you guys a little bit later. So the Singularity, sorry, still screwing up the name in my head, like I said, was the second pen that I got from Nemosine, and it's one that I really wanted to like. It has a better grip, I think, and you'll be able to see it better in the writing sample than the Fission. But I think that's about all that it has going for it. This is one that I tend to keep out of my rotation. I don't like it very much, and I'll get into why here in a little bit. But I really wanted to like it. I did kind of like the Fission, but just didn't. I've had a couple problems with it that I'll get into in a little bit. So let's see, this one is pretty light, so that was something that I didn't like about it right off the bat, but I should expect that with plastic pens or resin pens. It's a lot. Almost a third. It's 17 grams as compared to 43 grams as the Fission. So Singularity is less than half the weight of it, though. One of the problems that I think I had with it, so this one I had a ton of hard starts with it, just constantly. Just almost every time I pick up the pen, and recently too. I inked this up about a week ago so I could do this review, or at least get used to it before I did this review and see what my thoughts were a little bit more recently. And I'm just constantly having hard starts, so I'll take it out of my planner and then shake it like that just to get the ink flowing again. I don't have ink going on my page or spraying anywhere, but it's just not staying in the nib. One of the problems could be, so I'm using the Diamine Prussian Blue, and I know Diamine tends to be a very wet ink, which means it's probably not staying in the nib or staying in the feed, so that way when I open it up, it's ready to write right away. It does tend to flow pretty well once it gets flowing, and it does write fairly wet. So on most papers, it feathers quite a bit. The notepad that I'm going to do the first part of the writing review on does pretty well on. I'll also do one in my Jarbo bullet journal, and it does pretty well there. But on quite a few other types of paper, I just can't use it because it feathers too much. And I think that's more the ink than it is the nib, because this is actually the extra fine nib, and it's the same as the Fission. So a little bit more about the pen. It runs about, let me double check the length, about 5.4 inches when it's closed. And if you might have noticed, it doesn't have the threads here to post it. However, you can still post the pen. So when you take the cap off, it's about 1.5 rotations, and then it just friction fits on there. And actually, when I am writing with this pen, I do like posting it because it is a little bit shorter and it's not as weighty. So the cap adds a little extra weight to it, which gets it a little bit closer to what I prefer as far as pens go, because I do like the heavier ones. And yeah, and then the clip, just let's do a comparison between the two, and I'll make sure that this is focusing, and I'll also do a quick comparison for you guys when I get a little bit closer so I can make sure it's focusing. It sticks out quite a bit more than the Fission, and I don't like that. It's just kind of protruding quite a bit, and it's also a lot looser. I don't know how well you can see it coming apart. It's a lot looser. It doesn't feel like it would grip as well as the Fission. Another thing I don't like, and this is just aesthetics, is the cone top and the cone bottom actually. It just kind of looks dorky, I guess. I don't know. I don't like it at all. I think a rounded top like the Vision would have been better. But again, that's just aesthetics. That's something I don't like about it. It looks almost like a glass breaker that you see on some of the tactical pens, but this thing probably wouldn't break glass. All right, so with that, I think that's about all I can tell you guys on this side of the camera. So let's flip it around and get the writing sample done if I can get this thing to write, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Alrighty guys, welcome back to this side of the review where I'm reviewing the Nemosine Singularity. So to start off, let me get you guys a good view of the grip, because I said that's a feature that I really like. Let me get this to focus on it a little bit better. So you can see it's actually a little bit concave. So it gives you a good place to grab when you're writing with it. And I find that I like this grip quite a bit better than the Vision, which I have right here. Let me open that one up for you. Where it's just, this one's just a chrome metal again. I'm not going to go into this. Check out my review on it if you're more interested in this one. But this one, it just feels well in the hand, or feels good in the hand, not feels well. I can't speak today. So while I have this open, let me talk a little bit about what the body is made out of. So the grip itself is a resin. The body again is a resin. So this is a pretty much entirely plastic pen. And that is what contributes to the lightweight of it. Again, that's not my preference. However, I'll get off of that for now because I've said that quite a bit in this review. The nib is the same as the Vision. Let's try to get to focus on that. I really like the design on the nib. It looks almost like a butterfly. You can see the N at the top by that hole, and then extra fine. You can't really see it, but close to the grip it says made in Germany. So I really like the design of the nib. Like the I always forget the name, the Vision, because I always screw up the names, as I said earlier. It's got the same nib, which is gigantic. So it's the biggest of any of the pens that I own, and it's pretty massive. As you can see, and as you saw on the other side, or the previous part of the video, this is a twist top. So it takes about 1.5 turns to unscrew the pen. What I don't like about this one, what that I do like on the Vision, is you can see the threads are right where the body is. So they're at the same height as the body. So they're a little bit more noticeable than they are on the Vision. And that just, I don't know, it feels cheap to me. I just don't like having them there. It just feels a little weird on your hand. But again, personal preference. If you guys can get over that, then great. If you can't, then find a different pen. Like I said, the cap can be posted, and let's try to get a good view of what it looks like when it's posted. So it fits well in the hand when it is posted. Like I said, I do like writing posted with it because it adds some length to it and it adds that weight to it. So this one also came with a converter. It takes quite a bit to get the converter out. You can see I'm almost out of ink. I hope I have enough in there to write. If not, I'll add some ink really quick and get going again. But I'm trying to get through this pen, so I don't really want to add some ink in it. There was enough in there yesterday to do a written test on all the papers that I like to do for you guys. So with that, let's see if I missed anything. Here's a better view of the cap and its weird cone-like shape that I don't really like. And then here's a more close-up view of the clips. So you can see that the Singularity stands out quite a bit more than the Vision. It's almost corny in a sense, I think, and it's not as good. I hope that's a better view than what I had on the other side of the video. So with that, let me get some paper going for you guys, and we'll see if this has enough ink in it to write, since I showed you guys it's almost out. And again, if you didn't catch it earlier, it's Diamine Prussian Blue, which again is a very, very wet ink. So that could be why I'm having problems writing with it. Or why it's having some trouble. Oh, and that got caught on there, so bumping everything around now. Alright, so now that we're fixed up again, let's see. So this is a Nemosine Singularity Terrible handwriting. Hopefully, let me make that focus for you guys. As you can see, so this is a Jarbo bullet journal with the grid pattern paper. No feathering that you can see on that one. I do have a book that I was practicing some handwriting in that feathered pretty bad. So let's see if some of the cheaper papers that I have will feather for you guys, and you can see that. So again, I always like doing just paper that you can find at Walmart, because, sorry I dropped the cap there, I'm really struggling on this video, because I feel like a lot of people knew, and if you haven't seen my other videos, and I'll go over it again really quick, but I feel like a lot of people don't want to buy the Rhodias or the nice papers just so they can use a fountain pen to write. I think a lot of people will start off with what paper they have at home, and sometimes that's the loose leaf paper or the cheap paper, so which can make a bad experience for fountain pens, especially if you're using a very wet ink. So this is just loose leaf paper that I got at Walmart probably a long time ago. Oop, there was a hard start. Writes well. I'm not going to go much more than that. No real feathering on it, maybe a little bit towards the end. There you go. Then you can see the feathering with my terrible handwriting. And this is just same loose leaf grid paper. Try to write a little bit better for you guys. No feathering on that one as well. And so this is just one of those Mead spiral notebooks that I've had for years. I think this one, let's see. No feathering on that one either. I'm actually kind of surprised because, again, diamine is a very wet ink. The composition book that I usually write in doesn't feather in that as well. But I do have this book that I know it feathers in quite a bit. So let's see. So you can see the line is a lot thicker, and it's cursive handwriting practice because, I don't know, I just got it for a gift. It's kind of, I like it. It's interesting, but I can't use this pen in it because it feathers, and then it goes through to, actually it didn't go through on this side of the paper. You can't really see it because there's writing on that side. So again, it writes very wet, but I think that's more due to the ink because I have the fission that writes pretty well when I have the Pilot Iroshizuku ink in it. So overall, again, this is a pen that I really wanted to like. I thought the fission was decent. It's not my favorite pen, mainly because even on that one it hard starts, where some of my other pens I don't have that problem at all. Even this, I just got this cheap Schaefer VFM that just has a cartridge in it, and I've never had a hard start with it at all. So my Pilot Metropolitan, no problems. Lamy Safari, very, very rarely. So it's just something that I find very annoying, something that makes me really not like this pen, especially since nearly every time I pull it out, I have to shake it and it hard starts. You even saw just holding it in the air for a little while cause some hard starts on this review. I don't like the weight. Again, that's personal preference. So if you like lighter pens, this might be a good one for you. If you just want to try out the nib, and I have to say, again, the nib is pretty big, but it has an awesome design on it, and it's not focusing for me. Sorry about that. But it does write well. When it is writing, it writes smoothly, even for an extra fine. I'm not getting a lot of scratchiness on most papers. I think that Mead notebook was a little scratchy, but none of the other ones were too bad, especially for an extra fine. So the nib is made well. The converter holds a ton of ink, so with my writing, and I try to write with these every day. I try to practice cursive with them. I write notes with them. I write notes for these reviews with them on just a pad of paper. So I try to write with them as much as I can, and it holds enough ink to last a week, maybe a week and a half, so no problems there. With the wet ink, I did notice that it does tend to lose some ink, and I don't know where it goes. I've seen some reviews on fountain pens that sometimes the ink just seems to disappear. Don't know what that's about yet. Maybe I'll just need a little bit of research. The best feature on this pen, I think, is the grip. So if you're wanting to get into Nemosine, this one, I don't have the Neutrino, which will be one that I'll get in the future, but I really like the grip on this pen. That's probably my favorite thing about it because I hold it well. I'm not over gripping because I usually grip about right there when I'm using the fission, and that gets ink on my fingers, and nobody likes that. So again, overall, let me know your thoughts on this pen if you've used it, especially if you've had a different experience than me. Let me know what ink you're using as well. Um, because right now I'm just not motivated to put in something like my Pilot Eero Shizuku ink to try this pen out because I've got a bunch of other ones that I prefer. So if you have a different experience, let me know. Also, please give me any feedback that you've got on these reviews because I'm fairly new to them, and I think feedback is always a good thing. And check me out on my Instagram and Twitter as well. I'm Gentleman Review 1, REVIE 1 on Twitter, Gentleman Reviewer on Instagram, and that's where I post through the week about the product I'm going to be doing a video about in the upcoming days. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this was a thorough overview for you. My videos tend to be a little bit long because I try to cover everything I can think of. So if I missed anything, please let me know. And yeah, I'd appreciate it. Hope you all have a great week.